So welcome to Charge with Confidence and Convert Your Expertise to Cash. I'm very excited to be here. So today, what we're going to talk about is, hang on a second, I want to give you a little bit of what you're going to learn. Now, I want to also say one other thing. I apologize for the fuzziness of the screen. Somehow or another, when it goes to the Google Hangouts, when you turn it on live, it makes the screen fuzzier than it was before. But hopefully you can see it okay. All right, so today, I want you to learn today the number one thing that you need in order to charge what you want and get it. It's really very simple. We're going to talk about that. The decision you have to make in order to move forward. And I'm going to ask you all to make a decision today. And it's going to, decisions propel you. So we're going to talk about that. There are two major mindset issues that are robbing you and how to cure them. How charging what you desire is easier than you think. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. How you can work with me if you choose. And at the end, there's a bonus. 6 reasons people do not buy and 4 reasons they do. And if you know what those are and you can tailor your talks and your presentations to accommodate those reasons, you are going to have so many more signups than normal. And it's real eye-opening. When I learned this, it was such a major shift for me. So, next, to talk a little bit about my story. Some of you already know me pretty well. But I found this picture. I don't know if you'll think it's cute, but look at me. Aren't I adorable? That's me sitting at the piano. I'm not going to go into my whole history, but I just thought it was interesting for you to know that I come from a family of 6 kids. And as you can see from this picture, we are very culturally diverse. There's my grandma on the end there, she's Polish, and there's my grandfather, he's Italian, and there's my grandma, my mother, she's Korean, and my baby brother isn't born yet in this picture. But it caused for a very interesting way to be brought up. So this was the 1950s, right after the Korean War, and I lived in an all-white culture, and we looked like that. So it really made an impression on me as far as how I felt about myself. And the reason why I'm even pointing this out is because a lot of the problems that I've had as I've grown up and the reasons why I've done so well in life is because I've had this strong drive to prove myself that I'm worthy and valuable. Thank God I'm over that. But it did cause me, to get to college, get multiple degrees and certifications and do all those things. But overall, I still had a problem feeling defective. I don't know how many of you feel that way ever, but I struggled with it for a long time. And when it came time to go into business, even though I had all those credentials and that experience, I still felt like there was something a little wrong with me, like I couldn't do this like everybody else could. Well, I have a very strong faith in God. And if you have a strong faith in God, which just me too, so I can just see it. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't, but I just like to know, how many people are on a similar page. But so I really had this strong faith in God after I was a prosecuting attorney. Well, actually, while I was a prosecuting attorney, I hit a wall. I had been an atheist, and I hit a wall because of all the corruption and the abuse and what I saw happening in the world, what I saw happening in the government. It was just really people lying to you every day. And I hit a depression, and I didn't know where to turn. I did not imagine I would ever turn to God, but I had a spiritual encounter that basically took me out of this major depression and catapulted me into a whole nother life. So over the years, I've developed a very strong faith, and I've realized that people who do not have faith in business are oftentimes very prone to be motivated by fear, by scarcity mentality, by and so I have worked very hard to put spirituality in my business. So let's just say a little bit about where I've come from. So when I started doing this business, I had another major encounter with God, and it was all about favor. I saw that I had favor with God, and with favor with God, and that everybody did. So it wasn't just me. So I hope I'm not really offending anybody about this conversation. I just have to give you a little bit of my background and what motivates me. So then I got to writing this book. Have I ever told you you're my favorite? And that's how I met Craig Duswalt. When I wanted to write this book, he helped me to write this book. And I didn't really know what business I wanted to do. I had been, like I said, a financial advisor. I had been a corporate manager. I've been a prosecuting attorney. And I also got into ministry work. I was a homeschooling mom, a teacher, a business consultant, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. All I knew was I wanted to go around and speak about the favor of God. And as you can see, and I did these retreats, girls want to have fun retreats, and that's about as far as I went. Well, I decided that since I was having a lot of fun but not making a lot of money, I needed to figure out, was I going to have a business or was I going to get a job? I decided I needed a business. I wanted a business. I wasn't going to go back to law school. I wasn't going to be, I wanted to make a business. But I didn't know what kind of business. Everybody said I was a perfect coach, that I had the gift of coaching, that I should be a coach. But the problem with being a coach, in my mind, was that I had been coaching forever, since I was like in high school, and nobody ever paid me a dime. How do you ever make any money being a coach? So that was really a tough thing for me. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Well, finally, in the middle of 2010, I had a revelation. And the revelation was I was to be a coach, and I wasn't to do it for free. In fact, I couldn't do it for free. There was actually going to be no more free services for me. Now, there's nothing wrong with giving your services out for free. Totally nothing wrong. But I gave my services out for free out of fear because I didn't think anybody would pay me. That's a wrong reason to do free. So I'll get back into that story, but I put my stake in the ground and I decided the next person that asks me for coaching, I'm going to charge them. Well, a week later, I get a phone call and somebody says, I've been meaning to call you for 3 weeks, actually 3 months, and I was given your name, and she needed help with her marriage. She was on the verge of leaving her husband. Is that something I could help her with? Well, yes, I could. She wanted to know, how much do you charge? Well, I had never gotten that far in my conversation in my head. And I just started to sweat. I mean, honestly, sweat was pouring out from under my arms, beads of sweat on my forehead. I didn't know what to say. I eked out $50. At that point, she said nothing, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that's too much. She's going to think I'm greedy. She's going to think I'm all about the money. And I started to have all these voices in my head just crowd on me. And I wanted to get to the point of saying to her, forget it, I'll do it for free. I couldn't take the torture I was putting myself through. But I didn't. I just stayed quiet. And then she said, is that all? I couldn't believe it. That was my first client. I mean, that $50 bill. I felt like it was $1 million. I kissed it because it was the first time anybody had ever valued me enough or valued my service enough to actually give me money for it. And it was a turning point. So I still didn't have a brand though. I had a website. I had a newsletter. It was called Job and Jesus. But I didn't have a business blog. I didn't anybody from being a warrior, which I was a first-class warrior, queen of the warriors, and become a warrior. All right, a warrior to stand for what you believe in, a warrior for your passion, for your mission, for your purpose, a warrior for people, and a warrior for your business. So that was my very first brand. Not very professional looking, but you gotta start somewhere, right? So that's what I did. Well, that year in 2011, I went from $50 an hour to actually doing 3-session packages, 6-session packages, 12-session packages, and I went all the way up to 24 sessions, and I received thousands of dollars in that year for people hiring me for my services, and it really was just a matter of me making the decision. Now, I don't recommend a little bit about this. I don't recommend you selling sessions, because as we'll see, people don't buy sessions. They buy value. They buy solutions to problems. They buy outcomes. And so I want to explain a little bit more what that is. But at this point, if everybody could just one more time, let me know if you hear me. I want to talk to you about is, what do you need in order to charge what you want and get it? All right? What do you need? And I'm telling you that you only need one thing, and it's confidence. That may sound like a simple no-brainer, but you need confidence. And you need confidence with humility and gratitude. I am so grateful when people come to me, when they inquire about my services. I'm so grateful when anybody wants to work with me. Not because I don't have a superior product for them or service for them, but every opportunity to share our gift with the world, with anybody, to help make this place a better place. You know, be humble, be grateful for it, because it really keeps the door open for more. So I don't want this to be, confidence is not braggadocio. It's not manipulation, guilt, shame. It's not trying to convince people, pressure them, or extracting their last dollar from them. How many of you feel like sometimes that's what it seems like when people are trying to sell you something? Does it ever feel like that? Got some smiley faces here. Well, I don't like it. I do not like to be manipulated. I don't like to be in presentations where I feel bullied. And I refuse to be that way with anybody. So I would like you all to just realize that I am not going to lead you in that. Some people have said, okay, great. Some people have said that they're cutting in and out and they had to reconnect. So you may want to do that if that's the case for you. But I want you to know I am not in any way going to lead you in hardcore putting pressure on people. I don't feel like we even need to do that. And I feel it's wrong personally, but some people have that method, and they get tons of people to sign up for their services, you know? But here's the thing I want you to have the kind of confidence that says, I am grateful that I have a valuable service that changes lives. I've poured my heart, soul, time, money, and energy into my craft. In honor of all my efforts and the gifts God has given to me, I deserve to be paid. I truly believe that. Be paid well is a disservice to God, myself, and those I'm here to serve. Therefore, I'm making a decision today that I will not lower the value of my service by not charging a fair and noble price. Do you know your pricing can be noble? I totally believe our pricing needs to be fair and noble to everyone. And there's one other thing. Even if I would do this for free, and sometimes now I do for free, and I really have to know in my gut that it's the right thing to do, but I never do it because I feel like I can't get paid. So even if I would do this for free or for low fees, I will not anymore. I'm done. I may do free when I no longer feel I have to do free. I will no longer be a slave to my fears. So I would like you, every one of you, to make a decision today. And I want you to put your stake in the ground, even if you're shaking in your boots, and be confident that you're not going to do this for low pay or free anymore. Write in the chat box, yes, I decide no more free. Come on. Put your stake in the ground. Who's with me? Mm-hmm. I want you to say, I'm worth it. My service is worth it. But more importantly, my clients are worth it. When I'm paid well, the best me shows up on their behalf. I will serve with high energy. All right, I have Laurel saying no more free. And maybe you're not charging free, but no more cheap. Okay, thank you, Christy. Who else? Man, it is so important for you to make that decision. Now, maybe you're not at a place right now that maybe this is all going great for you. So if you're already doing well and you're charging, put that down. Say that you've already made your decision a while ago. But maybe you need to up level. There's always another level to go, right? All right. Life is a mirror. People will see what you put out there, but it has to start first on the inside of you. And I want to tell you that as I've raised my prices, I have found another category of people. And it's not like they're higher quality people or superior people or better people just because they pay. It's not necessarily people who even have more money, but they're people who are motivated and committed to the results they want to achieve. You know, there's something desperate within them where they know that they're not where they want to be and they're so tired of it and they are willing to spend the money to move forward. I love to work with highly motivated individuals. I know most of you probably do not like pulling a train up a hill all by yourself. And that's what happens a lot of times when you don't price your products or your services adequately. You end up doing a lot more of the work. People are more motivated when they are invested. And when I was working in the church community, doing a lot of coaching and counseling, some of the pastors in the area, they would give me their toughest cases. I mean, they had counseling staff that couldn't work with some of the people that they gave to me, so they gave them to me. And I would get great results many, many times. But a lot of times people just wanted to take up your time. They just wanted a sounding board. They just wanted to pick your brain. They didn't really want to invest. They didn't really want to change. With people who are ready. So I call forth people who are ready, willing, and will do whatever it takes. I want those kind of people. So do you know what kind of people you want to work with? Do you? Or are you willing to take whoever you can get? I'd like you to put in the chat if you know and are going to put your stake in the ground for the people you want to work with and say no more just anybody. Will you do that? No more just anybody. So my question to you again, are you willing to change no matter what? You have to be at a place where you know what it is and that you are willing to change. You have to be that client that says whatever it takes. You have to be that person. You got to be that person first, and you will draw those people to you. So if you're not going to charge more, then you got to be done because otherwise you're just going to get the same old, same old. All right? Are you done worrying about what others think? Ooh, this is a big one, especially for women. I don't see too many men having this problem, but women have this problem. You've got to get to the point that you're done worrying about what people are going to think about you. They are not paying your bills. They're not responsible for your dreams. They are not responsible for your dreams. I want you to hear that again. Nobody else is responsible for your dreams. So whatever anybody else is thinking about you, they're not responsible for your dreams. You are. It's to set the life. And the other question I have, is this your business or isn't it? You know, you got to get to the point where you decide this is a business and it's not a charity. Even charities have to raise funds somehow, though. In charities, someone pays for someone else to get a service. You could go that route, but that's not a business. So decide, are you a business or not? Put that in the chat, please. Are you a business? Your confidence is your attraction. I can't tell you how many people have investigated working with me, explored working with me, merely because of confidence. Merely because of confidence. Now, I didn't know that such a big deal. It's only after doing years and increasing in what I charge that I realize that confidence is what people want. All right? People are looking for leaders. You lead well when you are confident about what you offer. Awesome. All right, so let's talk for a minute. If confidence is such a big deal, what diminishes your confidence? Well, basically, there's two things. Number one, you undervalue yourself or the value of your services. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. But number two, it's your money story. So I want to explore both of these things with you, okay? Well, when you undervalue yourself or the value of your services, some of the things that you may struggle with is you wonder, does my service actually change lives? Is it really that valuable? You wonder whether people will actually see the value in it. I mean, if it was so valuable, why wouldn't people pay me? Or why would they complain about what I charge? And when you think about there aren't enough people even paying my lower prices, how am I going to raise them? It causes you to doubt, right? You know, when I first thought about, doing a business like this, it was way before, 2010, it was back in 2007 and 8. And I had a coach at that time. And I was really, really resistant about coaching at that time. And they were also very encouraging of me to coach. But one of the things that somebody said to me was that because my skills, I incorporate a lot of spirituality in business coaching. And they told me that by doing that, I was going to starve, that there's no way I could make money doing it. And I felt like really disheartened, which is why I gave it up. I thought, okay, I don't know how to do this otherwise. I had worked in the corporate world and I was a high-level executive. And because of fear, there was a mutiny that was brewing. And because I was on staff, I was expected to go along with this. And I couldn't go along with this. And I instead ended up becoming a whistleblower. Some of you have heard that story. It was one of the most traumatic experiences of my adult life. And one of the things I discovered was that spirituality helps with fear. And when people are not tapped into God, or they have a source other than themselves or higher power, then they're left to their own devices, and fear really takes a hold. So even in the upper levels, and you have seen this in many corporations now, where unethical practices, illegal practices even are occurring because people are afraid. I believe that spirituality is extremely important in business, and that's why I do it. But back a few years ago, people said I couldn't, and that nobody would want it. So I undervalued myself because other people undervalued me. It took some time for me to get convinced. And basically, that's the cure for undervaluing yourself or your service. You have to get convinced. Right? However you do it, that's where you have to go. You have to get convinced. So what are some ways to get convinced about? Well, number one, you have to be really clear about your big why. We go through an awful lot of work to be of service to the world, to promote our businesses, to get out there. We spend a lot of money. We put a lot of time. Well, why is that? There's got to be a big why, a big compelling reason. I discovered my big compelling reason, and part of it was what I told you. I need it. It's called by God to have spirituality and business. I want to see business people succeed. I want to see them succeed and prosper, but I want to see them do it without all the stress and all the anxiety that often comes with it. That's my big why. The second thing is you got to work on specific benefits and outcomes that your service provides. I do have when I coach people, I have a process I take them through that helps them get very, very clear about the pain points that their target audience has. What are the benefits and what is their process? How are they the bridge? Knowing this can help you to get more convinced of your value. Getting testimonials, that's a great way. Having people tell you what it is they loved about your service, what made it worth it. Those you get, not just for everybody else, but for you too. Seek God. If you have a relationship with God, I would journal, spend time. At my retreats, I provide a lot of time looking out on the water where people can actually go into their relationship with God and get validation. One of the best things God can do for you is validate you, esteem you, make you feel really good about yourself. God's not mad at you. He likes you. He delights in you. And when you know He's got a plan and a purpose for your life, that you're meant to prosper and prosper others, it is awesome. So seek God. Hire mindset coach. That might be me or someone else. But having somebody help you with mindset is so important. It's very hard to see your nose, the end of your nose, unless you're looking in a mirror or unless you got a coach. So I highly recommend you do that. But those are some ways for you to get convinced. If you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat box too. All right, let's talk about your money story. We all have money stories. And when I say what's your money story, what I mean is this. In your family of origin, you listened subconsciously. You got a lot of information. You were filtering all the time information. You were raised with certain belief systems about money, about how people should make money. And when I was growing up, this memory actually came back to me a couple of years ago. And when I saw it, I understood why I was so conflicted about making money. But there was a scene, and it was a scene in my dining room in our house where there was my dad and my grandfather, and my mother. And they were all yelling at each other. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was a home builder. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. He had multiple businesses. And my mom wasn't working at the time, but she wanted steady Eddie. She liked the steady money. But my dad did not bring in steady money. My grandfather always had money. He paid for everything cash. But you know what? My grandfather was known to be a little on the shady side. And I wasn't sure people really trusted him. Well, in reaction to him, my dad decided he wanted to have a noble and honorable business, and he wanted to do things right. But he was always broke, or it was up and down with the finances. And my grandfather was always on his case about it. And he called him a lot of names, and they were all yelling and screaming at each other. So I saw myself as a little girl standing there in the dining room, watching these three different approaches, these three different belief systems about money. And these are all three very important people to me. So no wonder I was conflicted and confused about how to make money. I knew I wanted to make money, but every time I tried to make a lot of it, something would sabotage me, or I had these blocks. So the cure for me was I had to forgive my parents, my grandfather, for all the different ways in which they acted or didn't act, or yelling at each other about all of it, for even implanting in me unknowingly wrong beliefs about money. And I forgave them. You know, we need healing a lot of times about our inner stories so that we can succeed, so we can become prosperous and be the people that we're meant to be. So I then decided I get to write my own story. I get to say how I want to be, how I want to make money. And once I made that declaration and I wrote that out, something shifted. Has anybody ever had a moment like that? Is there a memory that comes up for you? Would you just write something in the chat so that I know that you're involved in this with me? So let's move on. I noticed that the chat is a little delayed, so I'm going to just keep on going here, all right? All right, now something else you may have difficulty with your money story is that you're conflicted about people who make a lot of money. Sometimes we have opinions about those people. We sometimes think that they're greedy, or they're shady, or they're uncaring, and you don't want to be like that. Sometimes you think that if you make a lot of money, you worry that you don't know what you're going to end up being like. I see Laurel saying that my dad was always angry at my relatives that made a lot of money. Yeah, and sometimes, you know, that's a good point, Laurel. When you hear people critical of other people that make a lot of money, inside you're going, I don't want to have that be me. I don't want them angry at me. And so sometimes then we will shut down and sabotage ourselves and not show up as bright as we want to, because we don't want to risk somebody's wrath or judgment or criticism or alienation. And that really is something that has to be dealt with. Sometimes we think if I'm too successful, my life is going to change and people are not going to like me as much. And again, I have to say, are those people the ones that are going to be paying your bills or moving you forward in your dreams? And I would like to also say that, yes, I have new friends now. And it's not to say that I don't have the old friends. I do have many of them, but some of them I don't anymore because but friends. And another thing I want to say too is this. I hear a lot of people who are in the service, heart-based women especially, saying, it's not about the money. This isn't about the money. But then they complain when they're not making any money. So you got to be clear where you stand about money, okay? The cure is decide who you want to be. You get to choose. You get to choose. You have the power to be exactly who you want to be with money. And you know what they say? Money doesn't make you more, doesn't make you somebody else. It doesn't, what it does, it just brings out more of who you already are. So if you're already a good, kind, and generous person, then you get to use money for that and be that good, generous person. Sometimes your money story is this. You project what you think people can afford or not. How many of you do that? Somebody's in front of you and you're almost sizing them up. And before you even say anything about your pricing, you've already decided what they can afford and not afford. Have you ever done that? Sometimes we think that it's the area we live in. I live in a small farming community. Basically, I don't know if there's anybody that even knows what coaching is. But I have a bigger metropolis called Rochester, that we live outside of. And I checked out, what are coaches in my area charging? And I saw that compared to, oh my gosh, there's a huge difference. So it might be $125 an hour, $150 an hour, and we're talking about executive coaching. Well, when there's a study called Sherpa Counseling, Sherpa Research has done studies, and basically the average price for executive coaches, business coaches, is around the $300, $325 range. So even in my area, it's lower. Well, as it turns out, and I used to think, oh my gosh, I can't area like this. And somebody challenged me on that. And they said, next person that asks you what your prices are, set it, and then just wait and see if they'll pay you. So I did. And at that time, I was still charging according to sessions. But I was able to get in my area $175 to $200 per session. And I thought that I couldn't in my area. It's what people are getting from you. What value do they think they're going to get from you with your help? That's what people are paying for. Okay, so it's not your job to judge them or take responsibility. That's another thing I just want to suggest to you. I've worked with many people who are out of work or in transition and not making money. And I would think to myself, well, how are they going to pay me? Well, then I would take responsibility for their financial situation so they could get the help they needed. Think of that. I would take responsibility for their financial situation. That's a very disempowering thing to do. Do you know that? When you take responsibility for somebody else's financial situation, what you're saying is that they are inadequate to figure it out. Is that what you want to do? Well, I realized that's not what I wanted to do. I wouldn't want that from somebody else. So until I discovered, one thing I did do is I discovered how to manifest the money I needed whenever I needed money to move myself forward. If there wasn't enough money in the bank, I got good at manifesting. I know that might sound kind of woo-woo right now, but when we need, somehow or another, when we need money to show up so that we can move forward, it does. And I started believing that, and then I started seeing that. We can talk about that another time, but I want you to just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Learn how to manifest what it is you need. So when I started learning that I could do that, I could manifest the money I needed to move forward, to solve my problems or relieve my own pains, and that the money is there, then I started to see other people in the same light. And lo and behold, people wouldn't give me their sob stories anymore. They wouldn't expect it for free. I never get people any longer who want me to do what I do for free. wanted to share too, very quickly. There was I have a client who we just finished working for his 3-month segment. And I wasn't sure if he was going to renew or not, but I didn't feel entirely finished with what we were doing together. And as my gift, I did offer to him to continue working with him for a couple more times until, because we were right on the verge of some things and I wanted to finish this work. Well, he said no. He didn't want me to do it for free. He wanted to sign up for another 3 months at several $1,000s. And for him to value the service that we're doing together and to realize that his investment was important for his work, that was huge. So people will get that, but you have to believe it first. Here's another, I believe this is another problem that we have, another part of our money story that could be hurting you. And that is a belief that you feel like you're hurting them when you charge for your services. You know, selling is not doing something to them, it's doing something for them. Do you believe that? Selling is not doing something to them, it's doing something for them. It's opening a door for them to get the help that they need at a higher level. So worrying about victimizing your prospects comes from you feeling victimized by others. I want you to think about that for a second. Worrying about victimizing your prospective clients or customers comes from you feeling victimized by others. And here's why I say that. Sometimes we've been in a position where we have really wanted a service. And when somebody gives us the price, we feel ripped. Oh my gosh, my heart would sink. It happened to me. I really felt like I needed to work with somebody. I wanted to work with something. And this is really before I learned how to do a lot of the manifesting I'm talking about. But I feel like there's some pain attached to it. And I'm like, well, how many times have I given my services away? Is it help me? And then I go into this victim mode. Well, I had a revelation one day that I needed to address that. And the way that I had to address it really was forgiveness. Again, I thought of the people that I wanted to work with that wouldn't work with me for free or wouldn't work with me and make a deal with me. And I had to forgive them. Now I didn't go to them personally. It wasn't a big deal like that. I do a lot of journaling. And in my journaling, I forgave them. I let them off the hook because I was holding this against them. And I released them. I blessed them and I released them. And you know, that was so freeing for me. It opened another door. You know, the more we can stay free of unforgiveness and resentment and frustration and just those negative emotions, the more open the channels are for us to receive the clients and the customers that need to work with us, the less we have blocking our flow. Because I believe everyone that we need is already out there. They're waiting for us. And sometimes we just have these little blocks in our way that's just blocking up the flow. So the more you can just live in that state of gratitude, humility, forgiveness, and get healing inside for those things and bless and release, the more open the flow is, and really the greater you will prosper. Does anybody have any comments about that? Well, there's another reason that people sometimes have difficulty with money. And I had this too. It's because they have a religious mindset. You've heard that some people say that money is the root of all evil, rather than the love of money is the root of all evil, or that it's better to give than to receive, or that you don't want to be proud or arrogant. Just look at St. Francis of Assisi. He came from a background of very wealthy merchants. In order for him to be close to God, he stripped himself of everything and lived in utter poverty. So some of us have that kind of mentality in our background too. And all I have to say about that is, thank you, Christy. Know what the Bible really says about money. Get grounded. Now, there's a passage in Deuteronomy 8:18 where God says for us that he has given us the power to produce wealth. Why would God give us the power to produce wealth? So we can do good in this world. He's given us the power to produce wealth. And there's a proverb, the blessing of the Lord makes a man rich, and he adds no sorrow to it. You know, we are supposed to be rich through the blessing of God, through the work that we do, without all the struggle and all the toil. I'm all for that. Are you? Let me know. So, needy is creepy. Remember that. Needy is creepy. Your prospective client is not the solution to your financial need. They are not your source. If you keep looking at everybody with a dollar sign on their forehead, you are going to repel them. And we don't want to repel. We want to attract. We want to attract. So needy is creepy. Whatever you got to do, you have to cultivate an abundant heart and mind. Okay? Cultivate an abundant heart and mind. Okay, so I want to hear some comments from you. All right, before we go, we have almost an hour, and then I'm going to just open it up for question and answer in a few minutes. But I'd love to have some comments for you. I hear some comments from you. I love some of the things that you're already saying here. But while you're writing in the chat box, let me just introduce you, or not really introduce you, but invite you to this. May I help you? If any of you need my help in any of this, I want to help you. And the way that I would like to do that is, well, first of all, for those of you who are interested, all right, I just want to offer this. And please don't feel smarmy, don't feel like you have to answer this or anything, but it is an invitation. I want to help you get over your money blocks, design your programs, and boost your confidence. And I'm willing to give 3 private one-on-one coaching calls with me, and that's a value of $1,200, and increase your abundant mindset by getting admission to Create Your Magnificent Year live event with the January 15th through 17th. And here's just a few pictures to show you what it's like. This is the lobby of the Loews Coronado Bay Resort. It's a lovely place. I love it there. And the website is createyourmagnificentyear.com. And this is, if you look at the very front of this picture, and I wish I could show you, maybe, yeah, like right in there, those rooms there, right on the water, is where I have my event. So you actually have the opportunity to just look out straight on the water while we're doing the work. And we work on increasing your money mindset, increasing your abundant attitude, and we work together to plan our year. And to start your year, and that sense of abundance is just amazing. Here's some of the great people. That's me and Janie Lighty. She's an Emmy award-winning singer came. Some of you recall Joe DeChara. He was Mr. Funny Man. And some of you have recalled Glenn Morshower. He came and he did just blessed us by coming and doing a segment. We did some improv together. It's a very introspective time on the water, but it's also a lot of fun. Another picture from at the Loews. Laurel, it's not at the same time as Craig's. Craig's event is the week after. He and I coordinated. Here we go. It's actually the weekend before Craig's event. And again, if you wanted to work with me, you will get a massive mindset shift, I guarantee it, so that you can earn what it is you deserve. We will identify your specific disempowering money story and rewrite it for good. I will assess your programs for maximum perceived value. I will help you with the pricing of it all. I will help you get positioned for optimum attraction for your ideal clients. And of course, we're going to boost your confidence. So all of that is $997. Now, my event alone is $1497. Honestly, the early bird price is $997. But if you came to the event, you also get the free coaching. And if you wanted to do that, then you just go to createyourmagnificentyear.com, sign up for it then. I will see your name then, and then we will get you scheduled for your one-on-one personal coaching. Okay? All right, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm going to move on here. And I got some bonuses for you. I wanted to let you know that there are 6 reasons people do not buy. And if you know these, and you're able to structure your presentations to take this into consideration, you are going to be so much more equipped and empowered. All right? Now, the first one is they don't understand what you offer, how it will benefit them, or what it is you do. Oh, Jeffrey, thank you for the question. It is in California. Coronado is right outside. It's across the bridge. It's a little island across the bridge from San Diego. Thank you for asking. All right, 6 reasons people do not buy. The first one is they don't understand what you offer, how it will benefit them, or what it is you do. Now, if you're really clear with your programs, know what it is what are the pains, the pain you relieve, the problems you solve, the frustrations and the struggles you alleviate. When you know those things and you know what it is the promises, what the payoff is of working with you, and then what is your process, what's the bridge of getting them from one place to the other, and you get really, really clear on that, people will understand better. A lot of times people used to say to me, "You're so abstract. I don't know how to describe what you do." Well, that would make me crazy. That's right. It was abstract. So I had to get really concrete about what it is I do. And the more I did that, the more people were able to sign up with me because they understood. Number 2, they don't believe they can afford it. Earlier, we talked about you not believing they could afford it, you projecting that onto them. Well, sometimes they really don't believe they can afford it. And you can't make them believe they can afford it. But a lot of times what that really means is that they don't understand the value. They don't see how what you provide is going to change their lives that much or be worth it. So the better you are at showing them the value, somehow, some way, they will find the money to take the service, to buy your service. They don't believe they can do it. Now, sometimes I was in a place where I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds so great, but I know me. I'm going to get all this great information. I'll have this coach, but it's not going to really help me because I'm still me. So I didn't believe in myself enough. Now, you may be able to address that with people. A lot of times people will have that, they'll have that belief, they'll wonder, they'll have that doubt. Well, what I do is I tell them to be on the lookout for that doubt. And one of the things that we're going to do together is help them to get empowered and equipped to do what it is that they want to do. So I can come alongside them. Number 4, they don't value it for them. There's certain people that are relationship coaches, helping you find the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams. Well, some of us are not in that market. So that wouldn't be relevant to us. All right? That's okay. Maybe you refer them to somebody who can help them with that. But it's just not relevant. They don't value what you do, or it's not relevant right now, but it could be later. All right? Those are the people you stay in touch with. And the sixth one is really sad. They don't believe you. I've had a situation where I was really interested in working with this one particular coach, and I liked her program. But when it came time for me to make a decision about whether I was going to sign up with her or not, I had this check inside of me. I wasn't really sure. Well, she kind of badgered me about not signing up and challenged me, and it challenged me in ways that I didn't really care for. And I found some formula from somebody. You know, people have formulas. They take people through questions, and they have to ask all the right questions in order for them to feel like they did their job. Well, I realized the reason why I didn't want to work with her was because I didn't believe her. I didn't want to work with somebody like that. Don't let that be you. All right? Don't be mamby-pamby. Be confident. But at the same time, don't be that person that pressures people and makes them feel like they're backed into a corner, okay? The 4 reasons that people do buy: they perceive you can move them toward a desire they have. They perceive you can move them toward a desire they have. So you have to be able to state clearly what kinds of desires you can help people move toward. Your program makes logical sense to them. Purchase emotional or not, it's emotional. But people do need to know that it makes sense. Number 3, they're afraid they'll miss out on an opportunity. That's why a lot of people do the scarcity thing, right? They know that people have this inner fear that they're going to miss out if they don't take advantage of it. You know, my event in Coronado, I only have it open for 25 people. Now, that is a scarcity thing, but I'm not trying to make people feel that scarcity. It just is logistically the only way for me to, I can't fit any more people in the room that I have. And the kind of work that I do with people and the closeness that I want to create, the intimacy, more than 25, it doesn't work well. So I have a limit on the number because that's what works well for me. But it's not because I'm trying to create a mentality of scarcity. All right, the pain. So a lot of people will want to buy from you because they see what you're doing, what you have as a solution, and they're just tired and they got to do something and they're ready. Okay. So that comes to the conclusion of this talk. So really what I love to do now is just open everything up to your questions and take them one by one in the chat box. And if anybody knows how that I can open it up so that people can talk to me, I'd be happy to do that, but I don't really see. I tried this before by raising your hand, yeah. I don't think I can get the speaker to work. So I'm standing by here. Anybody have any questions for me? And maybe it's a question about you specifically. You know, maybe it has to do with your specific industry. Jeff, there will be a replay. Yes, thank you. And you will get a link in your email, just like you got the other notices. Darlene, you send a question by just typing it in the chat box, just like you just did. Okay? All right, thank you, Laura, for signing up and being present this time and participating. Appreciate that. Yes, Jeff, there will be a replay. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. If anybody has any additional comments or wants to send an email to me, I would welcome that. Well, I'm going to call it a day. I'm grateful that you guys were here. Thank you for showing up. And if you have any other questions or concerns about anything, please email me. I'd love to answer them. If I can help you out in any way, thank you. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.